Um, so it was his regular stump speech. You know, he did expand it a bit. He did go into other issues. He went into climate change. He started discussing LGBT rights. He's discussed it before, but he also brought that into the conversation. He sounded hoarse. There's all kinds of things that we could discuss in terms of how he did in terms of the speech, but more importantly, Bernie Sanders won tonight. He won right now so far. If you're still in line, hopefully you're not in line still, but if you are, stay there. But it looks like the lead has been expanded to 10 points. And I was wondering if perhaps I just missed, and we talked, Nick, through through Hillary Clinton's speech, but apparently Hillary Clinton did not give a concession speech tonight. Hillary Clinton spends Wisconsin primary night at a New York fundraiser hosted by an ex-AIPAC vice president. So instead of even being in the state and being with the people who worked with her in the state, like they suffered a great loss tonight. And they worked so hard on behalf of Hillary Clinton. Instead of being there to give them even a concession speech, she didn't even show up. She's in New York fundraising with an ex-AIPAC vice president, I guess trying to get things set for the New York primaries coming up in 2 weeks. But that just shows you, I don't know, it says a lot to me. But what do you think, Nick? What's your takeaway from his speech and the fact that Hillary Clinton didn't give one? And actually, we're at 11 points up. I stand corrected. It's not 10 points up, but it's 11 points up. And let me make sure I have some volume from Nick. Nick, I don't have any volume from you. I see you speaking. There you go. Go for it.
Okay. I think at this point, what they're trying to do is sort of just not acknowledge the loss. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to minimize it. They're going to not acknowledge it. Because if you keep acknowledging loss after loss after loss, there comes to a point where, you're starting to actually give free press to the person that's beating you. And so they want to avoid doing that at all costs.
Yeah. And that's a wise move because 7 out of the last 8 races, Hillary Clinton has lost to Bernie Sanders. So how many times can she come out and say, we lost again, everybody?
Yeah. I think that's at a certain point, you have to be shrewd. And you have to realize, okay, Wisconsin is a loss. More than likely, Wyoming is a loss. I need to bank everything on New York. That way, it'll keep my overall narrative of him not being able to win non-white voters. I can bring that back if I can just win in New York heavily enough.
Right.
And what I've been trying to get is any kind of data that shows that, she actually hasn't been winning the minorities like she states she has. People can say what they want, but Bernie's been winning Asians the entire time. They've been preferring Bernie Sanders the entire time, but that's not enough. You really need him to make massive inroads into the black vote in particular, so that narrative will shatter. And once that narrative shatters, I think that she's pretty much done.
Yeah, because the only type of minority that matters in America is African Americans, right? And don't get me wrong, I really appreciate this extra attention and extra focus that they're giving the black community. But I understand that the only reason they're giving us this extra attention and extra focus is because they need to shore up and maintain this firewall in the black community. Because if Hillary Clinton wins, it's only going to be by virtue of her support, her overwhelming support in the black community. But it has come to the complete erasure of Asians, not so much Hispanics as much as Asians and Native Americans and just other minority groups that are going in favor of Bernie Sanders. And the thing for me, Nick, is that it's really hard to find data just showing they discuss the black vote and they discuss the Hispanic vote, but I'm not getting a lot of data in terms of other minority groups.
Well, what I would say is I would even say Latinos, it's not a very big gap. You see, Latinos are more by region, than necessarily by race. If you look in Florida, he lost Latinos, but Colorado, he won Latinos, and odds are, I believe in Arizona, he probably won Latinos, and Nevada, he won Latinos. They questioned it. They called it into question though, because she won the state overall. But if you actually look, there's a lot of analysis that says that Bernie Sanders won Latinos in Nevada. So, let's say he's doing a 50-50 split, or let's say when he loses them, overall, maybe he's losing Latinos by 5 points or something like that. That's nearly an even split. So what's really propping up that narrative is the black vote, because it's such an overwhelming majority. And I like how we'll all like to say, we're not a monolith, but when you're voting for a candidate in 80, 85, 82, 78%, majority,
Yeah.
That you can't say you're not a monolith because you're voting in a block, a huge monolithic block.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there's nothing else to say about that. In fact, at 80%, 79%, you are most definitely, you can be spoken of as a monolithic block. And I guess people like you and me and other people who didn't support Hillary Clinton, we're the outliers. And here's the thing: you find the outliers, you find the division between whether or not you support Hillary Clinton or whether or not you support Bernie Sanders coming in two really distinct areas. Number one, age. The younger you are, the more likely you are overwhelmingly to support Bernie Sanders. The older you are, you're overwhelmingly more likely to support Hillary Clinton. That's one major division. But then two, in terms of your politics, do you subscribe more to the identity politics of the neoliberal Democrat, or do you subscribe to the class politics of the progressive Democrat? And those who subscribe to the class politics, class analysis, they are overwhelmingly, just probably 99% with Bernie Sanders as compared to those who think everything about Democratic politics should be identity. They are overwhelmingly with Hillary Clinton. Those are the two major divides that I see that's fomenting to the top. What do you think?
I mean, even on that, like I would say it also comes down to how you understand politics. I think you'll find that people that support Hillary Clinton, they're okay with corporatism. They don't see it in the same light that everybody else sees it in.
Right.
I've had arguments with people about, you know, trade deals being good or bad for America.
Right.
Hillary Clinton supporters support those trade deals. They say, you know, it's not a bad deal that we lost all those jobs because aggregate employment, you know, was not affected. And you're like, well, if you're going to try to spin policies that have been overwhelmingly bad for us as not that bad, I mean, I'm already fighting on uneven territory. In the battle for hearts and minds, I'm already trying to come back from a deficit because I can't even get people on the same page to acknowledge, okay, these policies have been bad for us. And then in the second camp, I agree with you. There's two camps. There's also a camp that says, well, I understand those things are bad, but they had to be done, or what other options do we have? And it really comes down to, do you believe that if you just keep voting for somebody that consistently doesn't give you much, that they will somehow find the light and give you a little something more?
Yeah.
Frederick Douglass said it best. Power doesn't concede anything without demand. Never has, never will. If you don't demand that Democrats stop being so corporatist, they're going to stay corporatist. Yeah. I've had somebody tell me that if we just voted for Democrats for 20 years, that the country would move to the left. No, it wouldn't. No. Rhode Island is prime example. They're just going to stay exactly where they are, and there's no need for them to move because they're winning elections.
Yeah, because everyone is fascinated with the, we're coming in a generation of Democrats who are so fascinated with the wealth that can be garnered personally through the neoliberal paradigm, right? There are great opportunities for wealth creation, but those opportunities are not going to be extended to the average American. I don't want to get back into, but that's what the fascination is. And so they have trended towards the right overwhelmingly over the last 30 years. And it has finally come to a point. I saw someone tweet, actually it was Yvette Carnell, my girl, my sister. She said, we have our chance for the first time in most of our lifetimes to elect a politician who is not a neoliberal, either a neoliberal Republican or a neoliberal Democrat. And I think people are finally waking up to that reality across all demographics. And there's still some room. There's still some distance that we have to go. Let me take this caller real quick. 269, you're live.